Hello everyone and welcome back to Epic Park, my hopefully last Planet Coaster series here on my YouTube channel. Thanks for coming back, thanks for subscribing. I hope you enjoy what I am creating in Planet Coaster so far. And in today's episode I'm working on the first dark ride. Now I'm building toilets, an ATM and a staff room building because my guests are pretty much complaining about the lack of toilets in my park so far. Around this building, before we start with the dark ride, I will add some Victorian style elements from the World's Fair pack. If you like my videos and the content I'm creating, I'd be super happy if you subscribe and like this video below. You can also comment down below what you wish for in this series, and as the title of this park, Epic Park, is still a working title, I would be really interested in how you would name this park. As all the other buildings in these areas are pretty much white, I wanted to have a more interesting look of a building, so I decided to make or use a lighter green. When it comes to my job, as I'm a designer, I usually don't have a big struggle with creativity, but in Planet Coaster I sometimes got the feeling that it's really hard for me to choose different colors, not building always the same, and that everything looks a little different. As you can see now, I'm already starting with the dark ride and the layout of the track. It was a little struggle because I don't want to use that much space. The building around the dark ride shouldn't be too big, but I also wanted to have like two layers in the building, a top level and a lower level. And I think with that little ramp going upwards, I think like 1 or 2 meters is just enough to have a little variety. In my last video I uploaded last week, I was asked to comment and tell you more about my struggles while building and creating new designs or building in Planet Coaster. So I tried to add some more commentary today. For this dark ride I just used the 1 meter grid a little more than I usually do, because I wanted to have, like you can see just right now, I wanted to have some more layers of walls to add light effects, as you can see. And it's pretty much more effective if you work with multiple buildings, because I don't want it to have all looking mostly square or rectangular shapes. So I just worked with the 1 meter and added some more walls outside the building to finish the queue lining. There will be some gaps in a later stage. As you can see then, I filled those with some smaller pieces which are off the grid. I think they are mostly columns or posts, and to have a bigger divider between the queue line paths, I added the walls on both sides of the grid. And I wanted to also have some lamps inside the building. I'm not that much a detailer when it comes to building inside of buildings. I think I never built a souvenir shop or something like this, but I really enjoyed creating this little queue line and adding just some details. Not too much, because I mostly focus on outside, which I can see while going through the park as a virtual visitor, but not inside the building. My overall building style is pretty chaotic, as I mentioned in one of the first episodes, I think. So I'm jumping a lot. It's really hard to cut those videos that it makes. If you ever can see or glimpse anything in the background, it's perhaps something for the next or one of the next episodes. Now I'm starting with the exit building and the last building of this area, which will cover the big building the dark ride is located in. I would say that's it for now. I will get back to you later in this video with some more infos or telling you a bit about my struggles when decorating and building indoor dark rides. Enjoy the speed build part and see you later. Hello again. As I'm focusing more on the inside of the building, I just wanted to come back and tell you a little more about my inside building struggles. As I'm not the most detailed builder, but I also want to have nice looking buildings from the outside, I don't enjoy the inside of buildings that much. I mostly focus on building facades and pretty much or mostly realistic buildings around a dark ride or an indoor coaster, but I don't really enjoy focusing too much on heavy detailing. I like to put down scenery pieces I just can use and are in the game. I don't like to build too much custom pieces like some of the other content creators do. I think that's one of the reasons why I'm more like a casual builder and a casual player. I don't like to focus too much on management or too much on building. I like the in between game. To have a space to build and always see how much room I have available, I like to create the right building first and add floor and walls to it, that I have a kind of dimension or a better understanding of how many or how much space I have to use for this kind of ride. As you can see, I'm mostly using studio pieces, vintage pieces and pieces from the World's Fair pack. I chose them because I think they are mostly or best fitting for this kind of area and the older vintage looking style and vibe I wanted for this dark ride. I'm also using some base game items like the flowers, tulips and bushes, but there are not too many inside the ride. For Planet Coaster 2, I'm really hoping that we get better inside building lighting, because it's never really dark inside buildings. And for the last scenes I recorded for this video, you will see at the end, I had to turn on nighttime to have a completely dark looking building and see the light effects I add into this scenery later. One building piece I really use a lot is the 4x4 thin wall of the adventure pack. I use just right now to create custom walls because the wall piece is off-grid. With this piece it's much easier for me to create something like a second floor, as you can see. One of my biggest issues with this build again was that I always have kind of a pressure to make it look good, make it look interesting and create something really special. And then I also had the feeling that I didn't really find the pieces I'm looking for. I think that's a problem I often have with Planet Coaster, because I remind some pieces from Planet Zoo I thought they were in Planet Coaster. And the next big issue I had with this dark ride, I didn't have any big picture in mind. I really didn't know what I wanted to build, so it is a bit chaotic. I tried to find a unique style combining vintage and World's Fair pieces, but it was also hard to find the right pieces. So in the end, I like what I built, but I would say it's not the best dark ride I have ever built. As the overall first themed area is more a generic Victorian style and not that heavily themed, looking pretty natural with lots of foliage, nature and just an older vintage vibe, I think it's okay how the dark ride turned out, but for my future builds, and I think the next area I'm going to work on is Mystic Island. Will be much more heavier themed, having much more details and a bigger focus on a prepared concept I have in mind. That's it for now. I'll come back later. Hello again. Right now I'm starting with a big barrier wall when the ride is coming down from the second level to the ground level again, because I wanted to cut off the view of the riders to the end of the dark ride. My idea was it to have a nice entry to the last or final scene, which will be a vintage car in a city and the barbershop quartet singing. So I added this big wall, added some abstract, colorful elements from the vintage pack as well, and then I started with the city scene. For this final scene, I think I used mostly studio pack pieces. I really love those fake wall or building pieces, and I was really happy when they were added to the game, because especially for dark rides they are so useful to create fake facades and buildings without having to work too much with real building pieces you usually use for creating buildings. Before ending this episode, I want to talk a little more about my upcoming episodes and what you will see in the next videos, while I'm adding some final details to the dark ride and also adding some lights, because it will be obviously pretty dark inside the building later, as you will see in some footage I recorded after building this ride. In my next episode, I'm going to focus on the last details for this area. I am also going to build the coaster station of the dueling coaster and adding foliage and final scenery pieces to the whole area. As I really like to plan ahead with the content for my episodes, I'm not really sure at the moment if I will be able to finish the complete coaster station within one episode. So I will leave it open if there will be 1 or 2 episodes for that. But afterwards, back to the main entrance area and focus on the main entrance building next to the gates, and further detailing for the plaza and area in front of the main hotel at the end of the entrance part. The hotel I'm going to build for the entrance area will be inspired by the Helios Grand Hotel at Epic Universe, and it will be really big. After finishing the hotel and main entrance area within the next 2 episodes, I will focus on the next portal and the next themed area. It will be called Mystic Island and will be having a Viking style inspired by Isle of Berg for Epic Universe, which is the How to Train a Dragon themed park of the park. Main rides in this area is going to be a boomerang coaster and a nice boat ride on the water. We are now at the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed my build today. If you liked it, hit the like and subscribe button. I'm looking forward to see you again, and thank you so much for your support. See you soon. Bye.